welcome back at the Not Just Sawdust workshop. I took out the workbench because first of all it's really heavy. Secondly, there is some eating with little bugs going on in one of the parts, and we're going to redo everything. So I took it out and put it on some studs so I can use it as a workbench next to the van to put my paint on and everything like that. So yeah, it's time to start working on the van. First thing, sanding the roof and put primer on it. And we have to do this in the early morning hours because it's 30-35 degrees here, the sun is shining, so after 12 o'clock you couldn't do anything, paint would dry too fast and things like that. So we have to do it early in the mornings or in the evening. So I'm going to take a cup of coffee, sort out some sandpaper, and then we'll start on this project. Welcome in Portugal. Well, it's getting too hot. It's time for a siesta. I'm doing it in 3 parts because there are 3 seams on the roof. So the front was the most complicated. There's some rust above the window. So I opened the rubber and put a piece of string in so it would stay open, and cleared it with de-rusto, and then used this stuff, which is Dutch but from Alabastine, but it makes the rust go black, you know, rust something, and that works. So when I'm going to paint, spray the van, I want to do that too, keep that rubber on top of the window open. Then first of course it's going to be some grounding, 2 coats, 2 different ones of primer, and then of course the paint itself. And then I want to use, I don't know, maybe even Sikaflex or something black, and a really tiny pour in there and then push it back. That will be done. But the rust that was there is already gone with this stuff. But now it's about 12:30 and it's really getting too hot to work in the sun. So see you after the siesta. first part of the roof. I put a complete string in that window rubber, so it's leaning a bit forward, so I could put tape even on the inside of the rubber and then folded it over. So when I now use this 1K Haft promoter, it's like an extra layer to make sure that this special primer will actually stick better than without this stuff. So this is for rare surfaces like zinc and galvanized stuff, old paint or whatever. So gotta put this on first, only at the places where the old paint didn't stuck. So I've got all the old paint that was loose is off. What's yellow now is actually yellow that is really, well, really good. So we can put some layer over there, and then maybe tomorrow or the day after that we can put the real color on. But then of course we have to do the whole roof. But let's start with this sticky promoter from Asinol. Came from Germany and was very recommended, and it's normally used on tractors and agricultural machines, and they've got every color ever made for a tractor. So even if you have a tractor from the 1950s or a brand new one, they've got the color. So we choose to put Sahara, that's the name of the color, so it's like a ochre yellow on top. So that's the downside, it's getting dark, but the first part has its primer on it. First a layer of this Haft primer and then the normal primer. This can is empty, so I've got 4 cans, so I think that's exactly enough for the roof, because that part is done. And now it's getting on with the rest of the van, so I'm not going to bother you with, sanding again and doing the whole steps again. So we'll come back when the whole roof is finished with the 2 coats of primer, and then the nice thing starts, getting a color on. done. The roof is painted and yeah, went well. I must say that the tape I've got was good. This brand Arsenal from Germany, the stuff that they use on agriculture machines, really good, really worked well, as well as the pre-primer, the primer and the paint. And I ordered 2 cans for the roof and I only needed 1, so quite good. The color is sand yellow, Sahara yellow, RAL 1002 for anybody who is interested in the color. And with this special dilution for it, it really worked well. There's one thing that I'm not really happy with, and that's these rollers. Somehow they are not capable of handling the dilution or the paint or whatever, because they crumble after like 5 minutes, so you have to use a new one every time. And they come from a company called Colorus from Germany, but no, these are rubbish. So yeah, it's better to buy a more expensive one than cheap ones from the internet. But still, I think when you use water-based latex or whatever, they will work, but this paint seems to be somehow aggressive and little blobs come off of this. So this was a long video about just painting the roof of the car, but I thought I'll, film everything that I'm doing on the van. So, and the first thing was making the roof not really nice, maybe, because that's not the point. The point is that it's protected again. And I must say, there were no rust spots, only above the front window, and that worked out really well with that little piece of cable in there, so I could paint behind the rubber. Perfect. It's not like a professionally painted roof, but it is actually a good layer of paint, pre-primer, primer and paint, so it will hold for another 10 years hopefully. The next thing we have to do now is measure out the solar panels and how they're going to go up there, because then we can decide where we're going to cut a big hole in the roof. But that's the next video. So for now, thank you for following this project. Give us a thumbs up when you like it. Put some comments down below. I always read the comments and I will react to them. And if you want to support us, well, maybe you could go over to Patreon and become one of the supporters on Patreon, and you get extra little videos during the project. For now, from Portugal, a hot Portugal, até logo.